Hi everybody, welcome back to the farm. It is one of our favorite times of day, Coleus o'clock, and we're going to once again be talking about one of our favorite plants, the Coleus plant. This is another in the series of our Coleus videos that we've done and you've seen time and again here on our channel. And each year about this time, we go through and start to prune our Coleus and start to collect what we want to then winter over to have preparing for springtime and summertime, when we can go out and plant them into our landscape and also share with our customers that come here to the farm. We're in October, which means that the temperatures are starting to change. They're going to be dropping, and the Coleus does not like that. So in order to save them, you need to bring them indoors, overwinter them, and to protect them from that first frost, which will kill them. So what we're going to be doing is creating new mother plants that will last throughout the winter months and then allow us that opportunity to clip from those, plant some new babies, and have lots more that we can plant later in the spring and when the summer months come. We use hundreds of Coleus here in our landscape, as well as Coleus plants that we pass on to our customers. So having these on hand is a really important thing for us. These are two leftover mother plants that we had from this past season. This one here is fishnet stockings, and this one on this side is called Big Chief. And if you look, you can see we're going to also be repotting these two. How the soil has just kind of lost all of its nutrients, it's lost all of its color and its luster. So we're going to go through and trim these back as well. We have our pots here. We have our potting soil that's here is a mix of potting soil, some peat moss that we put in there as well. And so we will be rejuvenating all of these plants. Over here on this side of the table, these are cuttings that we took earlier in the season from all of the Coleus that we had planted in our landscape, so that we could make sure that we maintained all the varieties that we had. This one here is electric lime, one of my favorites. Dragon might have to jump in here. This one right here is rustic orange. To the side of it and also right here are the same. These are cherry pie. Back here, this one is a trusty rusty. This is a wicked witch, one of our favorites. This is a proven winners variety. Down here in front of that, we have our redhead is the lighter version here. And then this darker, more velvety version is a Coleus plant that we acquired sometime last season, and we quite haven't figured out what the name of it is. And finally, down here on the front is one of our velvet Coleus. So with these, just like with the mother plants that we have here, we're going to go through, clean them up, trim off the tops, transition these from the starter pots into the pots that they will live in throughout the rest of the season, all the way through the beginning of next year. And if you've seen our previous Coleus videos, you'll know that these will get nice and bushy. And at some point in the spring, before transplant time comes, we'll have to go back through and do another shear of those again. Don't be afraid to get in there and to do these to your plants. You've heard my opinion about that, how it's changed over the years. Dragon has always been a big proponent of shearing these things back to allow them a chance to flush back with new growth and look even fuller and more beautiful than they have in the past. And I am a testament to that happening. So I've been a convert over the years. This is a healthy thing to do for your Coleus plants. A lot of people are afraid to kind of get their hands on and think that they're messing with Mother Nature. This is a great plant to experiment with because the Coleus plant wants to live. So from rooting it, whether you're putting it in water and setting it in your windowsill, or you're putting it right into a little bit of potting soil, this plant will thrive with very little attention to it. So we're going to get to work here. We're going to start off first by trimming these down. So again, we're going to be repotting these plants here. So first thing we can do is go on in and get rid of some of this top layers of it. Just take your shears, go right in. No need to be fussy about it or afraid of where you're going. All you really want to make sure that you're doing is leaving parts of new growth in here at the bottom. So these larger pieces, as long as there's something underneath them that can come back up, That's all you want to make sure that you're doing, is leaving something down below. And this will help the plants also to not be so leggy as they grow, but to bush up, because now it will encourage a lot more of these blooms that are here on the side to start to shoot out. And as it does, the plant will start to fill up, and you won't even be able to see the bottom of your pot once it gets to that stage. Repeating that process again over here with this one. You can also see just how thick and healthy these stems have been. So these have been outdoors, enjoying their life throughout the summer months. So when it comes time later in the spring to transition them back out, that will also be a process in and of itself. But doing this, giving it that rejuvenation, you can see just how, because we shear these on a regular basis, all of that new growth and that bushiness that's already down here in the bottom. Another thing to mention as you transition your coleus from outdoors to indoors from the winter time, you'll notice that the leaf color won't be as vibrant as it is when it's outdoors. And that's a natural thing, because as these transition and get used to that sun, the sunlight adds that more vibrant pop of color to them. So the color might pull back a little bit over the winter months, but rest assured, once it's time to transition them back outdoors in the spring and the summer, they'll get right back to that glorious color that makes everybody fall in love with them in the first place.
It's a perfect example of it right here with this redhead coleus. Your outdoor color will be something like this leaf right here. So these were inside without any direct sun, and you can see how it's starting to change and green up. It will go back to red once it's exposed to the sun again.
So now that we have a little bit of an overview of what to expect, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this spot here, just toss these on over. I'm going to repot these two older mother plants, and again we're just going to get rid of this dirt that's in here. So we have our container here. Just going to shake this dirt. You can see how dry, and these have also been sitting outside. But another thing about the coleus is it lets you know when it wants to be watered and when it needs that water, because the leaves will start to dry up. And you can see how healthy that root system is right along that root ball. Looking good there. But again, we're just going to go in, fuss with this some, get rid of a lot of that older dirt that's in there, and we will just toss this into our composting pile. And all you need is that right there, that perfect little root ball ready to go into its new home. So we'll set this off to the side here, come in, have our same container. Again, our soil is already here prepared for us, so just go in, see that soil, you want it to be able to mush it, have some kind of consistency, almost of cake batter, without it falling apart or being too wet when you squeeze it. So this is pre-moistened soil that we're using here. Just going right in, getting just enough to go in there. Make a little hole for my root ball to go in. I will grab it, get in there, find my center, set it in, pack it down, and then take my soil, my fresh soil, get around it, and pack it into its new home. Making sure that we get the soil even all around, get rid of any air pockets that are in there. And as we water these later, once it becomes dry and needs some water, and the soil settles down a little bit, if we need to come back in and top this off, we can go in and do that. This one is complete. So there we are, our fish net in its new home, ready to go inside in the windowsill and stay for the winter time. Number two, our big chief here, just simply going to repeat that process. Go in there, pull out. Again, this one you can see roots around. So this is another healthy plant here. You can see where the soil was still wet, at the very bottom, and then that top layer that became dry. But these roots are maturing good enough that it was reaching in there to make sure that the leaves stayed looking nice and they weren't too dry. But again, we're going to go through here, get rid of all of that older soil right on around, bring it down to just a smaller root ball, and come over, set that to the side, and repeat the same process. Load up, find our center, make a little hole for our new root ball to sit in. Take out a little dirt here. And then we'll just go through packing in that new dirt. And there you go. The Big Chief has been repotted. Simple steps. And now Dragon is going to take over and show you the rest.
Alright, so now we're gonna do the very similar thing to the plants that we have, transplants. They're a little bit leggy, as you can see. As I mentioned earlier, they were inside without direct sunlight, so they will get a little leggy like this. And for the plants that you want to overwinter, you kind of don't want that. So you want them kind of compact and short. So we're going to do a very similar thing that Kevin just did with the other outdoor plants. So we're going to go inside and look for new growth. So you can see that double growth right there, double growth right there. So we're okay to just to trim these right here. If we were in summer months, these right here would be your perfect transplants, but we're in winter months, so we don't need to save anymore. We're going to do the same thing. Let's see which one looks better. This one looks better, so we have two new growths. We're going to cut it right here. Two new growths. We're going to cut it right here. So now we're just going to take these out. You push them from the bottom. Pops right up. Push them from the bottom and pops right up. I'll take two of these pots, fill them up with the soil. Most of our varieties we try to have 2 plants of each. As Kevin mentioned earlier, we use this plant a lot in our landscape. So one plant just doesn't cut it for us. And now we're going to make a hole right in the middle. Set this beautiful plant right there. Pack the soil around it. She's all set. At this stage, we don't really care how this looks. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty because there's so much soil and so little growth. But within a couple of weeks, this will completely bush up and cover this entire soil. So now we're going to repeat this entire process for every single one of these plants. And let's get to it. That took no time at all. Everything is potted. All it's left to do now, soak them in pretty good. And we're also going to take this chance to rinse off the spots on the side, so there's some dirt on them on the side. So we'll grab a hose. I don't want a shower option. Just soak this in. And we'll leave them on this table for a little while, just for this water to drain off since we're bringing them in the house. We have all of our coleus lined up. So this window right here faces southwest. Sun kind of sets over on the right side. So you do want to try to have south facing window, southwest facing window. It will get most light, especially in the winter time. Your sun is going to be very low, so it will get most exposure, sun exposure during that time. Right now is October. These coleus will be here throughout the winter, most likely through April. That's when we're going to start propagating them for next season. Why are we doing all this? Like we mentioned earlier, we plant over 100 coleus throughout our landscape, and also we love and enjoy doing this with the coleus.
We hope you enjoyed taking another look at how we treat our coleus during the winter time. If you have any questions about care for this plant, drop it down in the comments. We'd love to help you out. If you have a favorite plant that you like to bring indoors during the winter time, let us know that too. Again, we thank you guys for tuning in, and don't forget to stay safe out there.